Alright, welcome back to another video. Today, I want to go ahead and try and mod this PlayStation, which is a 5501. Now these models, they're pretty easy to find online, but they might be a little pricey depending on their condition. This one was sold as is, as you can see. It just came this way. Pretty much, this one I want to do a retro bright on. As you can see, it's pretty yellow. I hope you can see it right in the camera, but it's pretty yellowed up. The board is good. Before I restarted recording, I tested it just to make sure, because I wasn't going to make the video without knowing if it worked or not. But yeah, pretty much we're going to put the XStation in this baby. I'm also going to change the power supply so that it's not using that bulky one that PlayStation normally has. And eventually I'll upgrade it to USB-C, but for now, it's gonna use the wheelbarrow. So let's go ahead and get started with this mod. There's not much of a teardown since apparently this is how it came. Literally, I got the package like this, so I just wanted to show you guys. But let's go ahead. The mod itself is not so difficult. I'll walk step by step on how to do it. It's not too hard, but if you are, let's say new to soldering, I would recommend that you practice before you do this mod. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Now, before we begin the installation process, I'm going to go ahead and provide you with the link for the GitHub page for the XStation. It's really important that you pick the correct motherboard of your PlayStation. Like in my case, it's the PU18 board. Each installation will be a little bit different depending on the board. On their GitHub page, I'm going to go ahead and download the PU18 install guide, and we're going to go ahead and use that as a reference point for each step we're going to take when we do the mod. Now, if we go down to page number 2 in the PDF guide, we're going to see a picture of the PlayStation PU18 motherboard. And here you're being told to pretty much search for the IC701. IC701 is labeled CXD2545Q. This will be found in the lower right corner. So if you look at the picture, you're going to find the correct one. Make sure that this is the correct one. The other way that you could tell, not only by the IC701, but you can also tell that there's a capacitor right next to it. So be very careful with that. Make sure you are finding the correct one. Follow the guide. The other thing I'm going to point out about this is you don't have to necessarily do the pins first. You can go ahead and do the soldering first if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it the way the guide has it, which is do the pins and then do the soldering. Now, if we go down to page number 3, we're going to see the pins that we need to lift. And they are 80, 78, 77, 74, 56, 47, 46, and 45. Be very, very careful when doing this process. For me, I ended up by mistake moving pin 79 when I was doing pin 80, which is the very first one I started with. I'm gonna caution you guys, be very careful, because while I had done this project before, the first time around, I didn't have no issues when I did this. This is my second time around. And all I did was by mistake, I kind of went in with the solder. I'll try to demonstrate it in the video, but I don't know, it came out too well. But it was just a simple little mistake where I moved when I was soldering the 80, I moved the soldering tip a little bit closer to 79 and it just came off. That's how fragile these things can be. So be very, very careful when doing this. But basically I use a dental pick and a soldering iron to do this. And I'll demonstrate that as you'll see now. Once you get the pins lifted, I went ahead and lift them up all the way up. In other words, if you go to page number 4 in the PDF, you're gonna notice at the top that they use electric tape, but I didn't do that because I'm not gonna put this back. In other words, I lifted it all the way up. Just make sure when you do that, it's not making contact with anything. You'll probably see it. I want to make sure it comes out clear in the video, but you'll see them lifted up. So that way you don't have to use tape if you don't want to. But pretty much, this is how it's supposed to look like. At least the way I did it. But you can go ahead and add the tape if you want to feel more secure and do it as the way they demonstrated on the PDF, because this was the original author who demonstrated this process. With all the pins lifted, now we're going to turn the board bottom side up. In the PDF, page number 4, go to step number 5, and this is the area we're going to focus soldering the QSB board. In the PDF, if you go to page 5 to step 6, you're going to notice how you're going to position the QSB, right? I'm going to kind of demonstrate how I did it on the video, which is using the point that I'm going to point out on the video where it's underneath the ship. That's the main point I use to pretty much guide myself to, getting it correctly, so that way you can begin soldering. But before you do that, you're also going to have to scratch out 2 points at least. And I'll go ahead and show you that as well. So now in the PDF, in page 5, step 7, he's demonstrating there, these are the pads that we're going to scratch off. So I'll go ahead and show you that now, how I did it. Now make sure you do this gently so that you don't mess up the pads, because this can be very sensitive. Now with all that prepped, this is the way I started soldering. I went ahead and soldered the first point, the one that I used to guide myself. Then I soldered in the other point, which was one of the ones that we scratched off on the via. And then from there, I did the rest. Now, I'm not sure if anybody else has better suggestion in which way to start it, but for me, this is how I've been doing it, and it's coming out pretty good. So now let's go to page number 6 in the PDF to part 8. And we need to remove a small resistor, which if you look where they have it located in the purple rectangle, go ahead and now move to page number 7 and step number 9, and he pretty much circled the resistor there. So I'll go ahead and remove it myself so you can see it on the video. Now go ahead and let's go to page number 7 in the PDF and to the step number 10. This is where we're gonna solder the APLL to the point where the resistor, near where the resistor was. I already went ahead and pre-tinned it, so I'm gonna go ahead and solder in the wire. Now, before we move on, please go to page number 8 on the PDF to step 11. I forgot to show you guys this with the bottom of the case, but there is a small plastic pin that needs to get cut off. This is very important because if you don't do this, this can end up breaking your flex cable. So please, please, please make sure you do this. Go ahead and just cut that plastic pin off, and then let's proceed forward.
Well, let's go ahead and put this baby back together. So first I'm gonna start off with the what do you call it? The power supply. So let's go ahead and do that quickly. And it's very simple. I'm gonna use this one that I have bought. It's nice. It works perfect for this. It's a wheelbarrow. Maybe in the future, I'll go ahead and convert it to a USB-C, but for now, keep it like this. So here, let me move this out of the way. Actually, I don't want to bending that, but, oh, actually I need to take this off. And you'll see in a second why, but let me just take this thing off the PSU. There we go. Because I got to put the metal shield on, but before we do that, let's put some screws in. So if you're wondering what screws you have to screw down, you pretty much follow the arrows, which we'll screw this one in first. Excuse me. All right, once we get those screws in, actually, you know what? I should even have put this on. I don't know why I did that. The shield has to go on first before we could do that. So once we have those, let me go get the metal shield that belongs here. All right, once we get that ribbon cable there, we'll go ahead, make sure it's not being pinched either. Because once we start screwing things down, you want it to be pinched. Let's go ahead and put this one in. All right. Now we can go ahead and put this in. There's a remote controller. Remember, don't force these things. If they're not going down, that means it's not aligned. So don't force it. So that way you don't break it, because they do get fragile after so long. I believe we put this here like this, right? Because I went ahead and 3D printed bracket and everything to mount it. So basically what we want to do, pass this under here. We're going to have something like this, right? And then we'll put this on. Make sure it's on properly. Okay, there we go. And then we'll go like this and like this. me get this on. Here's the other 3D printed part. Perfect. It should line up properly. All right, and that's kind of what you want there, pretty much. Bingo. Perfect, okay. Now let's go ahead and mount the rest of the screws in. All right. Now when you got all the screws, just make sure everything's intact, proper. And let me just make sure my SD, it's a little tricky to get the SD in the way this thing is, but not tricky, but it's more like, there we go. You can kind of see it there. I'll take better shots of this, but yeah, overall, this is it. Everything's good. All right. So now that we got everything put back together, let's do a comparison between my PSNE and of course the XStation mod that we just did. I think both mods are awesome, but honestly, the XStation is going to be the one that outlasts the PSNE, just because the PSNE uses the CD-ROM and eventually that will give in. So let's go ahead, run some tests, and let's see how fast the loading time is. I know not every game is going to load super fast, but at least you will definitely notice a difference. So let's go ahead and run some tests.
So, is the XStation faster? Yes, the XStation, a modern optical driver emulator for the PlayStation 1, loads games significantly faster and more reliable than a physical CD-ROM drive, especially worn out original drives or slow CDR burn, by reading the game data directly from an SD card, often with built-in fast load options that bypasses initial boot screen for near instant game entry, though in-game loads remain similar to original speeds to maintain compatibility. In essence, the XStation provides much faster access to your game collection and faster initial game launches, making your PS1 experience feel modern and snappy, even if in-game data streaming mimics the original console needs. The one thing you got to keep in mind about all this is that it eliminates all the disk issues that are plagued by the PlayStations. It removes reliance on older, slower, or failing CD-ROM drives and unreliable CDR media, which drastically slow down the original hardware.
And there you guys have it, the XStation. It's one of the awesome mods that hopefully maybe other models can have in the future. Like I said, this is going to extend the life of the PlayStation by so much, just because of the fact that we get rid of the one component that will eventually die. And without that component, this thing is worthless, because without the CD-ROM, there's no way you can play the games. And the XStation extends the life of the system. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, hype the video. And yeah, I mean, this is one awesome mod, changing the power supply, putting the XStation in this. It's pretty awesome. And in the future, there is another mod that I would like to try out, which is pretty much the HDMI mod that they have for this. I would like to maybe get another 5501 motherboard, since I'm a little worried of doing that mod, because that one you do need a lot of good experience with soldering just to get it right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rebuy the XStation and just do it with that one, because the XStation itself is an easy mod. I mean, I found it easy. I didn't find it pretty hard. So I am though a little concerned with the HDMI mod. I've seen other videos that people done it, and yeah, I'm getting better at soldering. So hopefully I'll be able to pull it off. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in, watching the video. Like I said, subscribe, hype, like the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.